Good morning, children. Welcome back to your chemistry class. So today we are going to deal with some more commercial polymers, and to begin with we start with bakelite. Okay, so what is bakelite also called as? It is also called as phenol formaldehyde. Okay, and therefore we are doing formaldehyde resins. So let us understand how this bakelite is prepared. It is prepared by the reaction of phenol and formaldehyde. Okay, so let us see what is phenol. Phenol is this. Okay, this when treated with formaldehyde CH2O in the presence of acid or a base, it forms bakelite. Okay, though it is complicated but very interesting. So H CH2 further it is connected, then here it is CH2 from where it is further connected. Then let me make one more. This is the complete structure of the bakelite that I am trying to show you over here. Further it goes on n number of times, then OH CH2, this is connected here, CH2, this is connected from here, then this CH2, it is connected from here, and this CH2 is connected here. So this is the structure of your bakelite. Okay, so let us now know about the properties. The cross-linked bakelite is a thermosetting polymer. Okay, and whereas it is used in phonograph, it is used in phonograph records, then in the electrical goods, okay, and even for the protective castings, etc. So this was all about bakelite. What did I say? It is the mixture of phenol and formaldehyde, right? Therefore it is also called as phenol formaldehyde polymer. So when phenol and formaldehyde they react, they form this bakelite, which forms a cross-linked bakelite, and it is a thermosetting polymer, right? We move to the next. The second type of polymer that we are going to do today is melamine formaldehyde resin. Formaldehyde resin. Okay, and this is obtained by the polymerization of melamine and formaldehyde, as the word suggests. So what is melamine? Let us understand what is melamine. This is N over here, N here. NH2, NH2, NH2. What is this? This is melamine. Okay. And when this is treated with formaldehyde, then we get what? Melamine formaldehyde. So let us see the polymerization to obtain melamine formaldehyde. NHCH2OH this side, NH2, NH2, and here, and here. What is the name of this? This is just the resin intermediate. Okay, this is resin intermediate formation, and after this polymerization takes place. Polymerization takes place and it forms melamine formaldehyde. Now let us look at the melamine formaldehyde structure that is formed over here. This is N, 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 NH. This is NH, NH, CH2. So this is what? This is your melamine formaldehyde. Clear? So it is also your thermosetting polymer. It is a thermosetting polymer, right? And where is it used? It is used for making non-breakable plastic crockery. Used for making unbreakable plastic crockery. Clear? This was your melamine formaldehyde resin. Now we next move to certain rubbers. So let us first talk about natural rubber. Okay, natural rubber. So it is a polymer of isoprene, right? It is a polymer of isoprene. What is the formula of isoprene? C5H8. So it is also called as polyisoprene. So let us look at the structure of it. CH2 double bond C, CH3, CH double bond CH2. N times of this particular molecule is called as isoprene, right? On polymerization, it is going to give what? Polyisoprene. It is going to give you polyisoprene, which is also your natural rubber. So the formula for it, CH2, C double bond, CH, CH2, CH2, N times. This is your natural rubber, or what we also call it as polyisoprene. Clear? It is a cis isomer. It is a cis isomer, right? The next one we have to talk about the vulcanization of rubber. Vulcanization of rubber. What do we mean by vulcanization of rubber? It is vulcanization, it is heating of the natural rubber with sulfur and then an appropriate additive at a temperature range that could be between 373 to 415 Kelvin, and this improves its physical properties, right? Sulfur, it forms a cross link at the reactive sides of the double bond, and thus rubber gets more stiffened, more tight, and thus it becomes less sticky and more plastic, more resistant to swelling by organic liquid, and it also enhances its elasticity, right? So over here, let us look at the structure of the vulcanized rubber that is in your syllabus. So it is like CH2C, it is attached from here. Let me draw the whole thing. This gets attached further. Then this is S, sulfur getting attached to the carbon, CH2. This gets attached, this is attached over here. Then CH2. So this is how the continuation takes place. You can continue writing like this, then double bond CH2, and this continues, and SCH, this continues from here, CH double bond CH2, and so on. This is your vulcanization of rubber. So vulcanization of rubber takes place when the natural rubber, it is treated with sulfur and an appropriate additive is added to it at a temperature of what? 373 to 415 Kelvin. So I'm writing it down over here that natural rubber plus sulfur at what temperature did I say? 373 to 415 Kelvin with some additive is going to give you this vulcanized rubber. Clear? Now what are the uses of it? Writing it down over here. For lining metal tanks, okay, then used where the rubber threads and the sponge rubber are used as shock absorbers, right? They are also used for the manufacture of tires, also used for the manufacture of tires or toys, right? Sports material, etc. So these are some of the uses of vulcanized rubber. Let's talk about synthetic rubbers. In synthetic rubbers, we have to study about two rubbers, that is Buna S and Buna N. Okay, so these are the two synthetic rubbers that we have to study. So let us begin with the first one, that is Buna S, which is also called as SBR, right? It is a copolymer of buta-1,3-diene and styrene. Okay, so a copolymer of buta-1,3-diene 1,3-diene and styrene, right? And over here this S stands for styrene, right? So how is it prepared? It is prepared by the addition of polymerization of what? Buta-1,3-diene and styrene in the presence of sodium metal. So let us see what is buta-1,3-diene. How do we write down? CH2 double bond CH, CH double bond CH2. And number of buta-1,3-diene, they combine with, what did I say? Styrene. So what is styrene? N number of CH2 double bond CH. This is your styrene. When they combine, what in the presence, when they are heated in the presence of sodium metal, they are going to give us Buna S. That is, Buna S is also called as, it is also called as styrene butadiene rubber. Okay, the short form of styrene butadiene rubber is SBR, and over here this S stands for styrene. So over here let me draw the structure. It becomes CH2 CH double bond CH, CH2 CH2 CH. What is this called as? This is your Buna S or SBR. Now this is extremely resistant to wear and tear. Extremely resistant to any wear and tear. Okay, and what is the use of it? It is used in making automobile tires. It is also used for making tubes, for making automobile tires, tubes, etc. So this is your Buna S I was talking about. Now I am going to talk about Buna N, and then we are going to see the difference between the two. Let us see the second synthetic rubber, that is Buna N. It is a copolymer of buta-1,3-diene and acrylonitrile. Okay, and over here this N means acrylonitrile. Followed? So let us see how it is prepared. What did I say? It is between buta-1,3-diene and acrylonitrile. So what is buta-1,3-diene? First let us draw that. NCH2 double bond CH, CH double bond CH2. This is your butadiene 1,3 butadiene. Now what is the formula for acrylonitrile? See here, N number of acrylonitrile, that is CH2CHCN. This is your acrylonitrile. Okay, when they are treated in the presence of sodium metal, then it is going to give us Buna N. Now what is Buna N? Let us see the figure of it. CH2 CH double bond CH, CH2 CH2 CH N times, and here is your cyanide. This is your Buna N. Okay, now it is extremely resistant to swelling. Okay, it does not swell up, right? Then it is used for making storage tanks for the solvents. Used for making storage tanks for the solvents. Clear? So these were some of the polymers that were important. So this was all about your synthetic rubber. Okay, before I wind up with your synthetic rubber, what does this word Buna? How did we get this word Buna? That is also important to be understood. You know what is S, you know what is N. Now what is Buna? Bu stands for butadiene, okay, and Na stands for sodium, right? Sodium is NaNO. So this is the way how the name Buna has been given to it, because in the presence of sodium only the reaction takes place. So Buna is your butadiene. Now in both Buna S and Buna N we use buta-1,3-diene, correct? Over here we use styrene. Over here we use acrylonitrile. So the word S and N respectively has been used over here. And in both the cases we are using sodium in the presence of which the reaction takes place. So this word Na has come in, and thus we get the full name as Buna S or Buna N. So with this we wind up with the synthetic rubbers. We are now going to talk about biodegradable polymers. Okay. So what are biodegradable polymers? The polymers which can be broken down rapidly by enzyme catalyzed reactions due to microbial activity. They are called as biodegradable polymers. Okay. So the polymers which can be broken down rapidly by enzyme catalyzed reactions due to microbial activity, okay, are called biodegradable polymers. So what are biodegradable polymers? The polymers which can be broken down rapidly by enzyme catalyzed reactions due to microbial activity. They are called as biodegradable polymers. Now, there are a large number of polymers which are responsible for the accumulation of polymeric solid waste materials, right? So these solid waste materials, they cause environmental problems. Why so? Because they remain undegraded for quite a long time. So to overcome these problems, certain new biodegradable polymers have been designed and developed. So what are those polymers which can be easily degraded by the environmental process? They are, what is in your course, are of two types that you have to study. One is PHBV. I am going to tell you in detail when I am going to talk about it. And the next one is your nylon 2, nylon 6. Okay, so these are the two biodegradable polymers that we are going to discuss about. Let us begin with the first one, that is PHBV. Now what is the full form of PHBV? Let's see this. P stands for polybeta hydroxy butyrate co-beta hydroxy valerate. Okay, so what is PHBV? Polybeta H hydroxy B butyrate co-beta hydroxy V valerate. Okay, so this is obtained by the copolymerization of what? 3-hydroxybutanoic acid, right, and 3-hydroxypentanoic acid. Clear? So how do we obtain PHBV? By copolymerization of 3-hydroxybutanoic acid and 3-hydroxypentanoic acid. So let us see how n times of CH3CHOH CH2COOH. What is this? 3-hydroxybutanoic acid. 3-hydroxybutanoic acid. Okay, when this combines with 3-hydroxypentanoic acid, so let's see how do we draw 3-hydroxy. This is also n times CH3 CH2CH OH CH2 COOH. Okay, so this is your 3-hydroxypentanoic acid. So what are we going to see? Over here n number of water molecules are removed. N number of water molecules, they are removed, and we obtain your polybeta hydroxybutyrate co-beta hydroxy valerate. So look at the formula of it. CH3 CH2 C double bond O OCH CH2 CH3 CH2 C double bond O. This is your PHBV. This is the polymer that you obtain. Clear? So this was your first biodegradable polymer that you had to study. What is it? PHBV. What is the full form of it? Polybeta hydroxybutyrate co-beta hydroxy valerate. How is it obtained? By copolymerization of 3-hydroxybutanoic acid and 3-hydroxypentanoic acid. Clear? We come to the last one, that is the nylon 2 nylon 6, which is also your biodegradable polymer. The second one now, nylon 2 nylon 6 polymer we are going to talk about. Okay, it is a polyamide copolymer of glycine. Okay, polyamide copolymer of glycine. And what is glycine? It is H2NCH2COOH, right? And aminocaproic acid. Now what is the formula of aminocaproic acid? It is H2N CH2 whole 5 COOH. What is this? This is aminocaproic acid, right? And this is also your, as I told you, biodegradable polymer. So let us see how is it prepared. We take N times of your glycine, that is H2N CH2 COOH. I am writing it down over here again, right? And this combines with N type of aminocaproic acid, that is H2N CH2 whole 5 COOH. And what do we get? This is your aminocaproic acid, right? What is it going to give us? Nylon 2, nylon 6. So let me draw this nylon 2, nylon 6 over here. Okay, so it's going to form, look at this and understand, NH CH2 C double bond O, NH over here, CH2 whole 5 C double bond O, N number of times. This is your nylon 2, nylon 6. Okay, so this was also one of your biodegradable polymer. What are the uses of biodegradable polymers? They are specially used for packaging, for the surgical structures, then even for your orthopedic devices. So these are used in such places. It also undergoes good bacterial degradation in the environment. Therefore, they are preferred. And with this, we wind up with our chapter. The chapter is over. Thank you.